I'm David Lisot here for CoinTelevision. We're at the Florida United Numismatists Summer Convention. There's all kinds of people here buying and selling coins, banknotes, jewelry, and all kinds of collectible items. The room's packed. We're going to go around and talk to our dealer friends and collectors and find out what kind of cool items they've brought for you, our CoinTelevision viewers. So tell me about Disney dollars.
Well, Disney dollars, they first came out in 1987, and they were actually produced until 2014, but now they've stopped, okay? And people still collect them. They're very, very collectible. Some can be very expensive. For example, during 2005, that was the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, they made a special $50 note. There were two versions, a large head version and a version with Mickey in the mirror, and Mickey in the mirror is very rare.
What kind of value?
Well, we're talking about thousands of dollars actually for those that are graded and certified. And there is a difference. Some people collect them raw, but in nice shape, and some people do have them certified. PMG is one of the services that does certify them. Here we have an example of a $5 Disney note issued in 2005, which was the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. And this one here happened to be made in Disney World. We can tell that by looking at the serial numbers. If they begin with an A, they were made in Disneyland. If they begin with a serial number D, Disney World. And this is an example of one that was issued especially for the anniversary. So we have other examples besides this. And this is an example of a $10 Disney note with Minnie Mouse on it. There are different characters on many of the notes, but in the early years, they pretty much stayed with Mickey on the 1, Goofy on the 5, and Minnie on the 10. But in later years, they did a lot of changes. This one happens to be a 1999 example. It's in nice condition, a 65 gem. This one here is valued at $250 because it's graded gem 65. Here we have an example of a 2013 note, which is considered to be an error note. Why is it considered to be an error note? Because on the back, if you look at it carefully, Disney misspelled the word Dalmatians on the thing. It is one of the few error notes that are known by Disney. It's a very unique note. It's a high-grade 66 gem example, and this one here happens to be valued at $175 in a PMG 66 holder.
And why did they issue them?
Well, I think Disney has been one of the biggest brand names in the world, so anything Disney does is very, very collectible. The question is, why did they stop them? And will they ever start them again? That's the real question.
Tell me about your shop in Winter Park, Florida.
I have a store in Winter Park. Next month in August, we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary. And it's a store about history, man-made or nature-made. And so I have authentic Greek, Roman, Egyptian, pre-Columbian items, and I have minerals, crystals, fossils, and meteorites from around the world.
How cool. You seem to specialize in quantities of ancient coins. Tell me about this.
I love ancient coins. This particular bin right here is all Roman coins. I sell these, and they're good condition. I sell these at $10 each. And if somebody buys it, I can usually tell them who the emperor is.
And on the Roman coins, what are the different themes that you would find?
Many different themes. The Romans used their coins as propaganda. So the reverses of the coins, they would have different types of propaganda. Sometimes it was honoring relatives, like sons. I've got one from Augustus honoring his two sons. Sometimes it would be honoring victories that the emperor did. Sometimes it was like Pax Romana, which is Roman peace, and it was saying we have peace in the whole empire. So all different types of reverses.
And how are these coins found?
Most of these coins, the bulk coins, are found in hoards, small hoards, or in fields in Europe, especially Middle East, which tends to give the coins a little bit of protection in the sand.
And what kind of price value are they?
I sell the Roman coins anywhere from $7 on up. This is a coin of Constantius II. He was one of the sons of Constantine the Great, who was the first Christian emperor of Rome. It dates to about 340 AD. This is a coin of Constantine II, who was another son of Constantine the Great. This particular one has an interesting reverse in its victory. So this was propaganda telling the whole region that the Romans were victorious over all of their adversaries.
Why are the coins not more expensive?
Well, in 2,000 years ago, the city of Rome had a population of over 1 million people, the largest in the world. And so each emperor, when he came to power, would make his own coins with his own picture on it. So there was many, many coins made. And I'm talking about tens of millions of coins made. And so you have a lot of those ancient coins in really nice condition that you can get very cheap because not everybody collects Roman coins.
This coin here is issued by the Spanish government for use in the Philippines. It's dated 1897. And if you'll note, that's shortly before the Spanish-American War. And this was something that new because prior to this, they had generally used their currency in their colonies, and also included as Puerto Rico. Also, they issued a similar type coins, only they were designated for Puerto Rico and such. This became obsolete as a coin after the Spanish-American War in the Philippines. So they're relatively scarce because of that.
Who's on the face of it?
That is Alfonso, the King of Spain, dated 1897. As you'll notice, and if you can see it in your film there, it's a younger child. This is because he was a child early on, and then when he made this kingdom, he was still a teenager. So,
what kind of value?
The coin was 1 peso at the time. It's about 90% silver, similar to the U.S. silver dollar in other countries at that time. This has a catalog value of about $250 right now. Now, they sell for less because the catalog doesn't always reflect the true market. But it's an interesting coin. It's a one-year type because they didn't make any more after this because of the Spanish-American War. And the U.S. took over the Philippines. And of course, in 1903, they started generating coins were struck in the U.S. for use in the Philippines. And it refers to it as the Filipinos, but it also has the U.S. on there. So it's a piece of history for their history. And then in 1936, the Philippines became a commonwealth as part of the U.S. plan leading to their independence. And then they had a mint running in Manila, and all that kind of came to a halt when World War II started and the Japanese invaded, and it delayed their independence. And then shortly after the World War II was over, they got their independence from the U.S. And they strike their own coins now. But that's kind of the history of this coin. It's a bit of Spanish colonialism that ended with the Spanish-American War. In 1936, to commemorate the Commonwealth change in their planning to lead to the independence of the Philippines from the U.S., they struck 1 peso coins and a 50 centavo coin that had President Roosevelt and the Governor General Murphy on one coin, and on the other one it was Murphy and Quezon, who was leading the independence and working with the U.S. for the development of a government and such for transition to their independence, which was going to happen sooner than it did, but the World War II interfered because the Japanese came in and took it over.
And what is the collector value on that set?
The collector value on that set, the catalog value is about $1,100, but you could buy it here from me for $999. And that's because I'm not allowed to display anything in the budget section over $1,000. But I can make a little money on it. But it's a beautiful set because they only minted about 100,000 of each coin. However, when the Japanese invaded, there's a story that the mint that was run there by the U.S. for minting the coins in the Philippines, they had gold reserves and everything else, And the gold was all loaded onto a U.S. submarine before after the war started, and that was taken to Hawaii and that for safekeeping. The silver they couldn't carry out, so they threw it all into Manila Bay. So a lot of these coins that had not been issued yet went into Manila Bay, and you could get them with salt corrosion on them. And of course, they're not worth anywhere near as much. So of the 100,000 mintage original per coin, how many actually exist now is not clear. But it's a very rare set to have because of that. And it's a popular coin.